like you're losing track. I know your heart bleeds. Don't lose your mind. Just let it be, let it be. Know you're dying inside. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. But close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. But close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. Close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. But close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. Don't look back. Know you feel like you're losing track. I know your heart bleeds. Don't lose your mind. Just let it be, let it be. Know you're dying inside. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. But close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. But close your eyes.
welcome to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Tonight, Boise State looks to maybe continue some back-of-the-scenes action. Their weekend wins got them into a great position in the CC. First place in their groups, and they look to continue that win streak today in the UAL versus Ambition Black. Me, your host, Jared Barrica Castiglione, who even knows the last name anymore, will be joined by Alton Siphon Dills. Alton, how is it going today?
It's good. I'm excited to be back casting some Boise State League of Legends, and I'm hoping to see continuance on that win streak.
I got a question for you. We saw this past weekend Boise State actually managed to get not only one win, but I think 3 wins in a row. Does that give them the kind of flip-switching activation for them to carry that victory into the UAL tonight?
I definitely think it could. I think it could help them to face some different competition and really, and they showed in those games that they were able to get leads. They were able to hold on to those leads and continue to increase them, take control of the game, and then finish those games out. That's been one of their big struggles here in the UAL, and I think learning how to win will be big for them, and the fact that they were able to do so and top their group over the weekend, I definitely think that's going to help them hopefully translate it over to a victory here today.
Do you think there's going to be any world influences on today's match at all? I mean, we saw all the groups be finished now on Worlds, which means that a lot of the kind of favorited kind of metas have had a little bit of messing around with, a little bit of tried and true. But then beyond that, there's been some emergence of those counter picks that always kind of rear their ugly head within the confines of a tournament. Do you think we see any of that?
I think we could see a few things, but I think we're probably going to continue to see a lot of the staples, those control mages in the mid lane, to try to hold things, steady on the map. I think that we definitely could continue to see a lot of Misfortune. She's still super strong on the patch right now.
Most picked, by the way.
And I also think, though, if we're going to think about wacky picks, and we did see it against Northeastern a couple of weeks ago, the Tryndamere mid is something that I think, while I think it has fallen off a little bit, I still think that it could still have the potential to be picked.
Yeah, I mean, beyond that, it kind of puts a exclamation point on your intentions as a team. Tryndamere not being the best team fighter, he can get to a point where he's not manageable on a side lane, and you can opt for a 4-0-1 comp. You can go the classic 1-3-1. We see a lot of that be utilized at the top tier there in Worlds. Those kinds of we don't really like to fight, although for some reason LCK is like the most team fight region right now. But that's also an opportunity here down in the collegiate level and the amateur level, just because these players not only want to make a name for themselves, they want to bring that spotlight to them and say, hey, we got a cool idea. This is how it works.
Yeah, I definitely think that could be a possibility, and it's been interesting to kind of see the rise again of the the 1-3-1 or the those split pushers kind of really starting to make a name for themselves again, and they have done so mostly on the world stage. But it's been interesting to watch kind of their influence, not only in the sideline, but when they've translated back from to a team fight perspective as well.
We'll throw it to the draft. We see a little bit of Twitch chat. Hi, Twitch chat. How you doing? As Bard will take its first blood away. Not seeing the ref for game 1. Looks like we do have Boise State on the blue side. I did hear production confirm that they might be red side depending on the Boise State is on red, I believe. But that being said, it means that Bard is being banned away from Boise State, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense. With Light Post being part of the roster, taking that away is a great choice. LeBlanc, not going to see this as well. No shadows, no mimics allowed. We'll see whether or not they want to continue kind of limiting this mid pool. Rumble being banned, I mean, that's just a given at this point.
Yeah, it definitely is a bit of a given. You don't want to be giving that away over to Boise State. We know how prolific they are at it as well, and they are going to take the Lee Sin out of it, which has been a very good champion for them, but obviously with how strong he is, but I don't think he would have been able to come over to their side in this draft.
No, I think when you go for red side pick, or if you're ending up on red side as a jungler, you just try to remove that from the pool. The Misfortune, the most popular champion in Worlds, will not see the light of the Rift tonight, or at least for game 1. But Jin Zhao will again continue to reign dominant in the jungle. Graves could be a match, could be an answer, but we've seen how excellent this one champion can flex pick. Jungle, top, and mid sometimes. We see the Ashe pick, a Boise State kind of classic. Really enables Goblin to help out the team however they can. Those slows, that enchanted crystal arrow, especially in the right eyes, the marksman can really start things going. And a Syndra, very typical mid lane pick. Pretty good if this is trying to thwart off this Graves mid. to Camille in the top lane. All these solo lanes or solo champions, if you will, are going to be kind of identified, and they'll leave the bottom 2 champions left to pick.
Yeah, this will be very interesting. That's a very strong and top side already being formed there, for Team Ambition Black, and I think the Boise State's done a good job picking up that Shen as well for themselves to kind of give themselves some safety and stability. But Boise State I think they are lacking in some damage right now, so I think that they're going to need to be looking here towards a very high-powered pick here for their non-support anyway from their final 2.
I like this pick into Camille the Shen. We've seen so many times Elo Dad kind of handle a hyper carry such as Camille. She gets ahead in lane. She kind of is a monstrosity for the rest of the team to deal with. And not only that, with Elo Dad keeping the gold and the influx of gold to Camille minimized, also prevents those kind of isolated Hextech ultimatum kills with just the Stand United.
Yeah, definitely. The Shen is definitely not to be trifled with, especially in late game. That shield is not, it's not a small one. It can be pretty large at times, so it definitely provides a lot of safety and stability. Plus, being able to kind of match up in those side lanes in the mid-late game as well, having the double teleport if he's rocking the summoner teleport as well as his ulti.
Braum, Lucian being taken away. Nami can still be picked. Is that a Yasuo? Like a real one?
Could be Yasuo bottom. They don't have an AD
Yasuo,
drafted.
Galio.
I mean, they don't have an AD drafted.
That's fair. And then we got to pull into question. This still is interesting for the side of Boise State as well, because Graves and Echo can still be flexed between mid and jungle. I would think that you want to put your Echo against the Syndra because that's like the classic lane combo.
Yeah,
we'll have to see.
I would think you take Echo into that Syndra matchup because I definitely think Echo can get a lot of control in that lane, because obviously Syndra being not the most mobile, if Echo is able to get around the scatter of the weak, obviously Syndra doesn't have much to protect herself with, and so obviously with Echo's mobility makes a lot of sense to throw him there, allow the Graves to be a monster farming up very quickly, looking to jump around the map and create advantages for the team elsewhere.
Yeah, it's an interesting draft to say the least. I mean, you had mentioned kind of the apparent or kind of questionable lack of damage for the Boise State squad, but having 2 frontline tanks, having Graves kind of almost facilitate that hyper carry ADC role, because he crits on each bullet, that can do a tremendous amount of damage. Ashe being kind of a soft utility ADC, and you just have the Echo who, depending on build, can go completely buck wild, whereas we see Ambition Black run 4 threats, and depending on the Galio build, could be a 5th one as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to be a very tough game for someone like Goblin to be playing out, even if in this composition he's not going to be the primary focal point of this composition. I do think that this is going to be very interesting, because I think Ambition Black have definitely drafted themselves. They're going in. You can see that if they get one, Scout of the Week, they get the Hextech Ultimatum down, they get the Galio follow up, they have the Yasuo ulti as well to follow up. There's a lot of go buttons there for the side of Ambition Black, which Boise State is going to have to be conscientious about. But like you mentioned, they've got those 2 frontliners, they've got some solid engage, disengage, and they've got the ability as well to start fights or disengage as needed with that Ashe. And so I think overall these are very balanced compositions, and I would not be surprised if we see a very scrappy game.
Yeah, it's got to be a nice fighty one because of the champions designs in general. Yasuo can't really do much because he doesn't have the range to deal with anything else. And to be honest, I think the Rel pick's really good. Not only just a great frontliner, but able to even Magnet Storm, maybe Camille outside the Hextech Ultimatum, keep the backline carry, which I think is just going to be Goblin on the backline safe, because even Graves is going to be frontlining with how minimal range he is. But these are not just our our keys of the game. Doc's keys of the game, of course, come into play as well. Doc's keys of the game in League of Legends are focused a strong comp. Play to that comp. Remember, your win con and dragon control is, of course, the most important. Today's, my apologies. And these Doc's keys of the game are brought to you, of course, by Drop In Gaming. Drop In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. I think these are pretty good keys. I mean, we see often that Boise State has a fighting edge in most of these teams, or against most of these teams, with the fact that they do have a great emphasis and source of control on the Dragon area. So we'll have to see. And it is the swap. It is actually Graves mid into Yasuo with Syndra ADPC and the Echo jungle. So
The mind games.
Spicy. It's a spicy one. Here they gotta start Syndra, thoughts.
Well, I think it's not the worst thing in the world. I think especially here in this duo lane, I don't think there's a ton of pressure, you know, from Boise State. Obviously, you know, the Ashe, if they're able to start kind of going forwards and pushing back Ambition Black's bot lane, possibly there's some threat here. But I think overall the tier start's not bad, especially with the teleport as well coming in from that Syndra. So if she needs to back in order to get more damage or something like that, she's got that capability.
This is, I've done this matchup in the mid lane for, like, hilarity's sake. Saw Yasuo instant locked, and I said, well, I'll just play Graves, and Graves did not, or sorry, the Yasuo had no fun at all, and I thought that was super entertaining for me as the Graves, especially with the fleet footwork. I mean, there's not a lot that champion can do to keep you down. Every time he goes for, like, the EQ combo, the knock-up, you just quick draw away, and by the time his combo's back up, your quick draw's up again. It's a very fun matchup for Yasuo. But I do like to see that Mortar's picked up the Dark Harvest. If he can get that ball rolling, he will be a menace to pretty much the whole lineup, maybe sans Galio.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong from that aspect, you know, as well. And I think, you know, Echo Jungle is definitely a very interesting one because he definitely does not have, you know, he's a pretty good clear for the most part. But I think what's
Engage in the bottom lane, nice trade. Both of the CC heavy tanks go on the ADCs, and no damage really traded between those two carries, but a fair trade really going in the favor of no one. I will say that I guess you could consider a round win for Boise State, an extra potion, and another dive down here. Here comes the second taunt. We'll take up the Ashe. Here comes the Ignite. They're trying to go for Galio, but it's not enough damage just yet. So close. Just a few, maybe one more auto, and that would have done it. But a nice trade for Boise State. They now have commanding fashion to the bottom lane, maybe before the junglers intervene.
And I really like that decision there to immediately turn and focus the Galio as soon as they hit level 2. Galio, especially on support, especially in those early levels, is deceptively squishy. He looks a lot tankier than he really is, and he hasn't quite had an opportunity to build up that health, those resistances, and so he's a lot squishier than you might think, and he's, because he wants to go in, his escape tools don't really exist.
Interesting. Ascent was able to put his Q be in front of the wind wall, therefore it wasn't blocked at all, so able to get some chip damage, but looking like a pretty beefy and combative mid lane excursion. And we see something pretty uncharacteristic as of right now. Of course, Elodad has a massive wave to clean up before it gets crashed into his tower, but he's at a CS disadvantage for a couple more seconds.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just has come down to he's not been able to really go after some of that CS.
Missed the cannon. Why did you go there, camera? No.
That's just, that feels bad, man, right there. But
trying to bait into the waiting arms of Mortar. Here comes the engage. No, it's going to be Light Pulse instead. The dive down doesn't really land anything important, but the CC is there. There's a flash, another bait as well. But here comes the rallying wings. First blood will go over to Ambition Black, and a nice flash over the wall will get Jin Zhao to safety. It was so close, they almost perfectly baited it away, but they just couldn't land that crucial CC. And Boise State will suffer first blood.
And it was the right idea to look for a play there, just unfortunate there on the timing as the Xin Zhao was lurking around the corner, able to turn that one around for Ambition Black. And it was a little unfortunate too because Mortar had gone to do the Scuttle Crab and couldn't get back over in time.
See the items start kind of coming out. Nothing too crazy. Engage in the top lane. This is where we see Elodad kind of take control once he's got his full kit plus maybe the extra level in his Q. Shen again doing so much damage, not really trading or not offering the opportunity for his opponent in the top lane to trade back. It's nice to see that they have something going for them. And in the bottom lane, unfortunately, just the presence of the weak, along with Justice Punch and the taunts. It's possibly too much for an immobile ADC to deal with at the moment.
Yeah, you know, it definitely is tough as well, but obviously, you know, Goblin's got those that cleanse right now. He's got the flash as well right now. He still hasn't had to use that one yet. And he's done a good job here keeping their lane on the front foot and being safe when, you know, you had Light Pulse on the Rel roaming up. Managed to not have to, you know, not able to get engaged on, which is always good. He's CS well, so I think he's playing this matchup about as well as you can early on.
With the playstyle of Goblin, I know it's been nerfed kind of extensively, but wouldn't it be a consideration to go the Imperial Mandate Ashe build?
I wouldn't think so, because I do still think, even with the Graves and the Echo, I still think that Boise State's composition doesn't have enough, you know, a lot of damage, and if just one of those two goes down or is not able to participate in a fight, that's a lot of your damage not there. So I think that you still need to be building that damage Ashe, even if, while it probably won't ever be the most on the team, it will still be a necessary part of them being able to win team fights.
You speak of damage, and we see a Hextech Alternator being the first purchase from Mortar. That doesn't speak damage to you, I don't know what will.
Well, Echo is a fun one. You know, he doesn't need much to be able to hit the go button and do half of an HP bar with somebody.
Continue to see trades across the map. Gold kind of extending to a 1K gold lead with that first blood, with a little bit of these CS advantages eking out across the board. Bottom lane, mid lane, kind of making it a little competitive. Not too much to come back to. And again, first Dragon going over to Boise State starts to spell that familiar story of, do they continue to have that Dragon control? How do they do so? They need to put maybe some emphasis in the bottom lane. And, I mean, they are continuing to be under tower. I think this is the right call to, I think they're trying to maybe impose a threat that Ambition Black can be dived at any time.
Yeah, I definitely think,
especially with an Echo.
That's, you know, definitely a good point, you know, as well. And I mean, when you're talking about a Galio as well, I mean, he's got that global ult, you know, that semi-global ulti that you're looking at.
The hook shot in the instant ultimate, the last breath, but he can't get himself to safety. A 3 versus 1, and Elodad will be sleeping with the fishes, as they like to say.
Well, that was a little bit of unfortunate timing. It was a good play there from Ambition Black, able to not only get the Xin Zhao up there undetected, but also pull Yasuo out of that mid lane there, and Rascal goes all the way up and picks up a big kill.
Tark holding up the lane as well, just in the event that maybe Ascent wanted to be there for the push, but didn't opt for it. He wanted to grab the red buff. Sorry, no, Ascent was, where was Ascent? Oh, he's still in the mid lane, not really punishing much there. But I think keeping yourself safe, yes, you did lose a second kill over to Ambition Black, but Shen's going to be Shen regardless, and I really don't think that this helps the Camille lane in a grand fashion, namely because of the fact that the Twilight Shroud blocks all autos, including the Sheen buffed auto from Camille, so it's not the worst thing in the world. They're going to steal maybe a second red buff away from Ambition Black, making sure that that team fight or maybe 1v1 duel powerful buff is denied from the Xin Zhao. Good call, because I think Xin Zhao really needs some help dueling at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to take that down. And like you called out earlier, potentially a dive.
In the bottom lane, continue to force the threat. Boise State's bottom lane is pushing in the tower right now, but Galio is here in the wings. Turk ready to ult at the moment needed. On the backside, we see dangerously Ascent flirting with disaster, a 1 versus 1 in the mid lane, but as Xin Zhao hovering around, cannot get secured. Oh, it's a bait. They put down the pink ward for the bait, goes for the dive. Here comes the arrow as well, second stun, but the rail can't get in position for the dive down, and they are forced to turn tail and run away. Boise State tries to go for an aggressive dive, but it fails. A nice guy of the week in the trade in the top lane, but it's only a consolation prize. Here comes the collapse. Ambition Black is here, and there goes Goblin. Here comes another one on the backside. The power overwhelming is enough to chip away Echo, but the Mortar's still alive. Here comes the Stand United. Boise State calls the bluff, takes out 2, and walks away with 1 going down.
Great team fight execution there from Boise State. They were remaining alive, and Ambition Black did not respect the fact that Elodad could join with that stand united. But great team fighting there. Goblin does go down, but they're able to kill 3 members of Ambition Black, and that definitely will help because it went right onto Mortar as well. So he's going to be able to use that gold to help further his ascension here and give them some control back in the jungle.
Elodad plays this top lane in such a really cool way on Shen. It, like, he continues to force 1v1s that chip away the enemy health because he can. He's got sustain, he's got shielding, and then he says, okay, I'm going to ult. If you try to stop me, I will just kill you and keep pushing top lane.
Yeah, and even on that Shen though, it's really hard to kind of take those duels sometimes, and what's going to be interesting here is how much is the Camille going to really need some tank stats as well here to maybe go up against the Shen, because obviously she's working with that for that divine Sundara right now, and once she gets at that, she gets fairly strong. But I think against the Shen pick especially, you're going to need some survivability, whether that's maybe a Sterix Gauge or or maybe some just tabbies or something like that. You've got to get something here because that Shen will continue to whittle away on your HP, like you said.
Boise State forcing their mid lane and ADC to combine against this Rift Herald. Shelly shall not pass. Looks like she will pass. Get a nice chunk of change into the pocket there. And Castell will continue to push forward, but Boise State has most of their members, if not all of them, ready to come and collapse on this Dragon area. Nice taunt onto the Realm, not going to do much though. Echo continuing to be safe, does have the ultimate available. Here comes a nice chunk of damage from Yasuo. Rascal's just doing a phenomenal amount of weaving in and out and getting those final Qs right at the tip of the skill shot down and chunking out Boise State's health. They had such a commanding fashion of power with the vision control that they had, but that is the operative word, had, as Ambition Black goes for the clear there. Nice trade in the top lane, but again, it's just 2 mountains smacking each other up there.
Yeah, it really is right now. I mean, that's kind of the nature of this matchup for a while. It's who's going to be able to whittle the other down. Elodad's going for it.
Gotta go for it. Again, he wants to continue to set up the threat of, if you try to go for this, I will eliminate you, and continues to win these trades outs. Nice, actually securing the Sheen within the hook shot. I think AXM just trying to buy time for the team to kind of rally behind him, but not enough, and Boise State's feeling the same way, and they want to make sure that they keep their Elodad precious and safe, because you got to protect Dad every once in a while, Nice arrow, and there goes the Magnet Storm and the crash down with the stun to follow, but where are the right clicks? Here comes the damage reduction in the shield, but they don't have it. The Ignite final ticks will be it, but Boise State starting the fight under tower, and will trade 1-for-1 in the bottom lane. A nice trade in the top lane as Elodad will be sent scaring. A nice flash, but the Hextech ultimatum will follow. Can he actually do this? There's no mana on this AXM character. Camille is dangerously low. Trying to save up that.
Oh my word.
I caught my breath because it was literally just 1 auto away, and it's a spicy one in the top. It's a spicy one all over, let's be honest. What's happening there? Help me, Siphon. Help me.
I believe this is what we call a fiesta, if I remember properly.
No, that's not so.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of fights going on.
Another engage here, but it's just going to be Elodad walking away with the minimal health bar. The junglers are here, and they're ready for blood. Jinzhao needs to just sneeze on Shen, and he will be gone. I don't think the opportunity is going to present itself. Thank goodness for Boise State here.
Yeah, he's actually got the stand united and teleport back as well, so if a fight does break out here, he'll be able to use that stand united and be able to be back in just a moment, at a moment's notice, really.
You got to. I mean, you're Shen. You got to play with fire. Oh, wait, never mind. That's Brand. What is Elodad doing? He's not even playing Brand.
He's not playing Brand, but he's making Brand's playstyle work for him.
Yeah, imagine. No, there's no way. Riot would never introduce a way to combine champion abilities like ultimates or anything. Speaking of ultimates,
Silas
none
exists.
being used. Oh, I was talking about the Ruination game mode, which was awesome because you got to pick someone else's ult.
Well, you can with Silas.
You get to pick 5. You don't get to random. Oh, it was the best. Having like Ashe ult, Ezreal ult,
Oh no.
was the best. Or playing Mundo with Cho'Gath's ult, Big Mundo. He goes where he pleases. It was incredible. You didn't get to play it?
What season was that?
It was this season. They just had it for the Ruination.
I did not get to play it now.
We missed out.
Sounds like
Very
it.
fun.
Sounds like it.
Very, very busted. Speaking of busted, Boise State still in this. Nothing really broken yet. In fact, speak a little too soon. The cast curse of dullness enacts itself as try to review the grand macro of the game and something exciting happens in the micro sense. But Boise State shrunk this 1K gold lead. It is maybe 100 gold difference, if not 2 or 3, and that's negligible in the game of League Legends. That's one plate. Nice dodge and a taunt to dodge it away. I think AXM realizes that he can only get these buffed autos in the confines of the CC from hookshot, so he's continuing to use it aggressively, but within that, that's a completely exploitable way to play Camille. You would say, oh, hookshot's down, let's just go for her.
That's true, but I think that that's also a calculated risk here by AXM because he's kind of putting the idea, together that, this is a Shen that Elodad is playing.
Hanging out the Rift Herald area. Does not look like they were able to get anything on lockdown as Jelly will get himself a second one and dive over the wall with the W. Getting himself to safety. No, Elodad won't even stay under the tower to try to taunt himself to safety, but the Hextech ultimatum again will be his demise as AXM will pick up yet another kill. Boise State realizing that that's probably going to be the lane that's going to be sapped the most by Ambition Black's jungler, and they're going to be completely on the other side of the map trying to get some deep wards down.
I think this is probably the right call from Boise State. They just don't have the numbers or the vision to kind of go up there on that top side, especially while Elodad is still dead.
Get a third charge.
Yeah, well.
That's a pretty rare one, I'll say. Second charge is pretty rare in and of itself. Third charge, on the other hand, it's like a shiny Pokemon.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's not something you see a lot, but Boise State didn't really have anybody who was able to get into that position unless you potentially had, a Sent who looks to TP towards that top side to try to prevent that, but they
want to shove mid lane here for Pryo on Dragon. Bot's already pushed in past right, pretty much like the safety part of Tribrush, especially with that tower being gone. This mid being pushed in, Yasuo can easily clear it, but they have a fast track to Dragon now.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Boise State's done a good job of trying to gain priority over this Infernal Dragon to get the first one.
You does not hit. Doesn't start the Dragon. The knockback will still be there. Not too much of a deterrent. Infernal being the most damage supporting buff isn't the most damage supporting Dragon. Nice Q over the wall. Does damage, and he'll actually steal it away! The Mortar not in range to smite. Tried to peel back, but Jinja was able to go over the wall. Beyond that, Galio with the wings is able to do percentile health damage. It actually does some chunky stuff, guys. And that will be completely swept away from Boise State, despite them having the inner track to it. Galio looking for a taunt, not going to land. Graves looking to dash in, gets stopped by the Scatter of the Week and the taunt as well. So the arrows here comes the flash, then the Magnet Storm on the backside. The Parallel Z Convergence will land as well. And Boise State goes for the full dive. They say you can take the Dragon all you want, but you will not leave with your lives. And Boise State continues, but here comes Camille. AXM on the backside. Boise State split on two fronts. They're not combined, and Ambition Black finds a hole in the armor, and they rip it asunder, as Boise State will see an early gray screen.
What a turn of events there, ×2 there, as Ambition Black get the unlikely Infernal Dragon. Boise State pulls the trigger on a counter engagement there after it was initially attempted to be started off there by Turk on that Galio who tried to go in there on a Sense Graves. Boise State with a great counter engage to start, but they went too deep. They try to chase after that Xin Zhao, but that's a very strong jungler right now. He's able to fight off two members while Boise State gets split up at the back, and that Camille takes advantage of having no one really strong enough to stand up to her right now with that Divine Sunder, with that Tiamat, and with those tabbies.
I have to watch the play again because I thought Boise State as a whole had a chance to die before the intervention from Camille, and if that were the case, I don't think Xin Zhao can 4v1, maybe 2v1, sure. But those additional members, once the Xin Zhao's gone, you take those into a great fight, and a nice trade. Rascal just goes for the last whisper. He gets the last breath out of Mortar.
Very impressive there from
Not done
Rascal.
yet, though. Goblin looking for some vision. Will find nothing but Camille, and those scissor legs are going to be devastating. Rascal will pick up another kill, And in the bottom lane, and all for one will get some assist from the Jin Zhao. Boise State is dropping like flies, unfortunately. And they need to figure out what's going on before this gets too out of hand.
Yeah, they definitely do here. I mean, they're just getting picked apart at the same time at different times, and they're not able to coordinate together, and they're not moving as one as Ambition Black is across the map. And they're going to have to find some solutions here if they want to stay in this game. What was a very close game by only 100 or 200 gold, like you mentioned, has now ballooned to a 6,000 gold lead for Ambition Black.
6,000 gold, a couple towers in the lead. Boise State still has a lot of gold to gather on the map, and that could be their punch ticket to success in the rest of this game, but they cannot make many more mistakes before this game 1 is over. Now, that being said, they did shrink a previous 1K gold lead. 7,000 gold's a little bit more, sorry, 6,000 gold's a little bit more, but still possible. Boise State looking for an opportunity. All it takes is for a mistake on Ambition Black's part to open up an opportunity for Boise State. They still have the Enchanted Crystal. They still have Stand United. They have a lot of these tools for pick potential. We got to use them wisely, and Camille now knows that she's ahead. AXM says, Elo Dad, you cannot fight me anymore. The second hook shot with the extra damage from Divine Thunder, and Elo Dad will take a 1v1 loss in the top lane.
And that's just Camille. Once she's got the Divine Thunder, she went for the Giant's Belt. Like I had suggested that maybe some tank stats will make that Camille a lot harder to deal with. Obviously having 4 kills. Possibly, and with those 4 kills as well, that certainly doesn't hurt. And now Boise State's going to have a Baron to answer for.
Mortar goes for the stun. They try to get some vision. The taunt over the wall will be huge, as Lightpost has denied access into the Baron pit, but that's not the one they need to worry about. Nice Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but where is Mortar? He's the only one that has the access to the line. It's a 900 smite 50-50 battle on the backside. There goes one elimination, and here comes the collateral damage. Boise State tries to find an angle, cannot get into the pit, but the fight's not over just yet. As Cartelli tried to get in, the dive down will lock him up. Here comes the Sun as well. The Stand United, but Elo Dad is just too far behind. And now the damage carries from Ambition Black are turned on, and they cannot be stopped. Camille and this Yasuo in tandem are a perfect duo, and much to Boise State's demise.
So impressive there from Ambition Black. I mean, they managed to use all their tools at the perfect time. Mortar tried to first phase dive into the Baron pit, denied by the Scout of the Week, then tried to flash over the wall, pushed right back over the wall by the Xin Zhao ultimate. And so as a result, Mortar not able to get into the pit to try to get the steal. Once they secured the Baron, the team fight broke out at 2 levels, and it was a great job by the Xin Zhao. He split up those carries, and he made sure to separate them from their front line, and he ate all of their damage and managed to come out looking very nice.
Wilbo being popped there on Ascent means that he doesn't have that extra burst of survivability, as the third Drake for Ambition Black is going to be claimed. They are 1 soul or 1 dragon away from soul, and Infernal Soul is a pretty scary one to have on this high bursty team.
It definitely is with the fact that they basically have 4 damage dealers and 4 carries. These are not tanks. These are champions that will make full use of that extra damage.
Hextech Ultimatum is on board. The TP from both the APC and the top laner. Another interesting thing to pick is this Syndra has had not a huge spotlight put on them. I'm sure the stuns are there. Not the true carry though in this situation. Here comes a 1v1. Oh my goodness, wow. 50% of Lightpulse's health gets deleted by Camille, and here comes the Hextech Ultimatum and the Galio to follow suit. The knockup combo's there, but there's no Yasuo to keep him up in the air. The APC Syndra's coming in the wings. Can AXM live? No, they cannot. And this could be a turning point for Boise State. They push themselves forward. The taunt's there, the CC's there. But here comes Yasuo. He's left unchecked, unmitigated, and he will rip again asunder the Boise State health bars. Diving as much as they want to, but this Yasuo has got the triple passive. He's got 200 years behind his belt. Boise State scurrying, and that would be an ace for Ambition Black. And I think, oh no, it is just Lightpulse still alive to defend the game. They do have to buy some time. Looks like 11 seconds on Goblin. Still possible. Does not have the arrow online just yet, but the hopes are still alive. 15 seconds there on Mortar. 15 seconds again on Elo Dad. 20 seconds there on Ascent. If just Light Pulse and Goblin can hold this out, they still stand a chance in this game.
Yeah, they definitely do. They're going to have to come up with a big hold here as it looks like Ambition wants to win.
Flash engage, but here comes the damage. It's so much, and Boise State has to flash away. But did they buy enough time? The reinforcements are here. Oh my goodness, Mortar gets torn apart. The flash forward, Eladad with the double kill. And they are going to be able to do it. No, the damage is just too much, and AXM is here with the rest of the damage from this Ambition Black side. It's going to be a GG, and Ambition Black will take away game 1. Hey, what are you doing on Halloween? You have plans?
I do have plans.
Oh, shoot.
But
well,
guess what? I have friends that don't have plans.
That's awesome, because if you're in the Boise area and you don't want to miss on this Boise State Esports Halloween party right here in the arena presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, fighting games, racing games, cosplay, we might do some Among Us, who knows, food, tons of prizes and more, you'll want to RSVP to hold your spot, and they're going fast at boisestate.edu/esports. What a game 1. Honestly, that was a scrappy one.
It really was. And I think the compositions definitely were going to lead into that, with having a 5 carries from the side there of Ambition Black, having the Boise State team, which was built to scrap. I think that they definitely were going to, have that happen. And I think it was very interesting how the game ended up playing out, because I think it went away from the points where we thought it was going to lead to initially.
It's just a lot of aggression, a lot of ambition, and Boise State just was not able to react. They made some great plays, some great strides, but we'll have to see what the adjustments will be between game 1 and game 2. We're going to throw it to a quick break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Boise State continuing to try and find their clinching win in this UAL tournament. But tonight against Ambition Black, game 1, not going their way so far, but a little bit of pace controlling might be able to set the difference. Again, this is Jared Baratukis, going to be joined by Alton, Siphon, Dills. Siphon, tips. What are your tips? What are the biggest difference makers between what we've seen Boise State take away with these G1 wins versus that G1 loss that they just suffered?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think you do provide an interesting idea from the perspective of potentially pace control. I think that that's something that could be considered.
Do I know what I'm talking about?
I think you do, because I think if the game kind of got a little bit out of hand. It got very quick there, and it almost felt like there were so many questions just posed at him, and they had some answers to some of those questions. Some of them they did not, and I think pace controlling, to where you're kind of controlling the flow of the game, will definitely be big for them. I think they need to draft more agency in the early game, because the early game has typically been a big part of what they're able to do when they are playing, when they have successful games.
Right.
I think they need to draft for more early game focus. I think that they need to draft for a potentially a strong mid game, and then be able to close out from there by building a big enough lead from that perspective. Because I think if they do not otherwise, then they will get into those scrappy affairs where at times it gets a little bit hard to control the pace.
Yeah, and with that being said, do you think there are any priority bands that need to shift their attention to this next phase around?
I think that I think that they probably might need to be looking at potentially going with a 5 carry composition as well. I know I say 5, but the supports, I guess, aren't really carries in this aspect unless they're playing a playmaker.
Brand.
True. But I think that from the perspective of they need to be looking at playing 4 carries, I think that is going to have to be the way forward, because as we saw in that last game, just so many times they were able to get 2-3 members gone from the Ambition Black side in those team fights, and yet the Ambition Black still comfortably had more than enough damage to be able to finish out those team fights with just 2 members. And I think that is a big deal, whereas on Boise State, if they lost even one of those damage dealers, they ran out of time and out of damage.
Yeah, and speaking of the team members in question, Elodad in the top lane, Mortar as the jungle role, Ascent rocking that mid lane, Goblin and Light Pulse. You know him, you love him, the bottom lane duo that's going to try and continue to put the team in whatever backpack they can, I guess, right?
Yeah, I definitely think that they're gonna definitely be trying as hard as they can here, and I think something else I might look at if I was drafting for for Boise State, I would look at getting Light Pulse on a playmaker and probably in that first rotation. I think I would not wait fairly long. I would get him on a priority pick to allow him to kind of make his influence felt on the map, as he is also a very important part of how they're able to come up with these big plays.
Right, and it's interesting, right? It's difficult. It's interesting because it's so different than their playstyle. But we've seen so far that maybe this kind of methodical, slow pacing isn't getting them where they want to be. And that doesn't mean they need to completely change the script. You can still have like a utility accessible ADC in the bot lane. You can still have Light Pulse on a playmaker, but maybe swap out the jungle to a hyper aggressive mid or early game champion. Same thing with mid lane. We see like the Corkis, we see the Cassiopeias, these champions that take a long time to scale up before they're powerful, and by the time they're online, it's a little bit too late.
Yeah,
also, put Elo down on a big old carry in the top lane, or let him play Ornn. Ornn does damage regardless.
Those are all really valid points, and I would agree as well. I think Camille definitely would lose out to the Ornn as well.
He's got horns.
Yeah, exactly. But, I think it's definitely very interesting just from the perspective of, I think the Ashe is a very good pick. I think especially when used properly, that arrow is such a powerful
tool. The arrow
tool.
didn't miss, by the way, one time.
Right, and it's such a powerful tool. And if they have more damage in order to follow up on some of those engagements that we saw numerous times where the Syndra was getting out scot-free, or it ended up being a 1-for-1, I think if they're able to have more damage, I think that allows that Ashe to be more effective.
Yeah, I do possibly think with the Rumble Band being on the right side, I would be fair to say that Ambition Black has switched over to red for Game 2. It means Boise State, with the first loss, will take blue side as their map pick of choice. Jin Zhao Lucian seeing the ban hammer from the Boise State Broncos. See if that extends to maybe a LeBlanc again.
I would imagine I would imagine you should here.
Sorry, I have fans in the chat. You guys are silly. I love you guys. Shout out to Rainmaker and Dealey. If you actually can look, that's little me. I'm a little cartoon character. There was one time on stream I put my arms up and screamed Dealey. They made an emote of it, and now it's immortalized on the internet. Rumble, Bard, LeBlanc being banned. Maybe it's just a red side ban. I don't know. But Camille being taken away will force AXM to try something else.
Yeah, I think that that's probably also a very smart decision. Make him show something else in his hand, but Boise State, more importantly, will get their hands on a very important pick here.
Stop. Dealey, you're going to get yourself banned. Please stop it. Whoa! That can't be real. That's an Evelyn.
Whoa! That's the gauntlet.
Is this LEC like 2020? Like, what's happening here?
Very interesting here. I actually do think that the Evelyn pick here is a very smart pickup here, especially along that Syndra. Again, you provide that flexibility from the Syndra here, but the Evelyn...
Yeah, who knew Syndra was a flex pick, right?
But also you have to consider the Evelyn's ability to threaten multiple parts of the map because you don't know where she is, especially once she's hit level 6. You have no clue where she is until she's right on top of you, and by then, it's too late.
Oh, they baited out the Lee Sin first pick because they knew they could sneak into Evelyn. Perfect counter to Evelyn, of course. Rek'Sai.
Very, that's a very intelligent pickup.
I think to some extent, Lee Sin with game awareness, a heightened sense Lee Sin, pretty much Neo from the Matrix with Lee Sin.
Well, actually,
is great against stealth champions.
Doesn't I forget the specific name of the ability? Doesn't his second E detect?
His Q and his E, Tempest Cripple.
Yeah, the cripple.
Stealth.
Yes, the cripple.
But that's the thing. If you lock down, if you throw out a Q, because you know Evelyn's somewhere nearby, you will reveal stealth. The E, same extent. While they're slow, they'll also be revealed. It's a niche pick. That's why people often pick in solo queue games Lee Sin into Shaco. Do your team a favor, never pick Shaco in a ranked game, though.
That's just a PSA.
He doesn't do anything. He's not a jungler. He's just... And he'll end up like 11-2 and flame you. I've been there multiple times. Not a good idea. Shen, TF rounding out the final bans from Ambition Black. Wukong, though. The Monkey Man himself and Braum being swept away. They're going to continue with the Rel, but this time they have the misfortune to back it up. I appreciate the compliments, chat, but please. My head won't fit in this headset anymore if you continue. Well, we see the other better anime brother here in the mid lane with Yone. I could probably say that Syndra Leona is a more devastating combo, and that's a scary one to deal with. Even if you are a little bit faster as MF, you're still kind of immobile.
Yeah, I would agree with you that I think that's still very dangerous, but I think you also provide more damage from a safer distance with the ultimate ability here. And
Graves top.
I would imagine that is going to be a Graves top with a Rise mid lane as well here for Boise State. I definitely think this is a very interesting composition for them to utilize here as the Jax is rounding out our draft.
I like this. Their mid laner, Rascal, refuses to play AP. So they say, well, I guess I'll just play Syndra bottom and Evelyn mid or Evelyn jungle, so it all works out. That's what it takes, though, you know? This means that in this matchup, Boise State versus Ambition Black, they are one game away from taking this home. And with this Evelyn pick being kind of centered around not the best duelist pre-6, and Lee Sin, on the other hand, probably one of the best duelists, even till level 6.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be that window of opportunity here for, there's going to be that window of opportunity. They're going to have to take advantage here of the fact that this Evelyn, like you mentioned.
Open up that window.
Like you mentioned, that this Evelyn pre-6 is not a great duelist, so there's going to be room here for this Lee Sin to kind of get a lot of work done in the early game. But something you've got to be careful about, especially here if you're going to be Elo Dad, on this Graves, you've got to be careful with the fact that, you are up against a Jax who has the ability to very quickly get onto you, get that stun down, and all of a sudden the Evelyn charm is there. That's a very quick setup. It's fairly easy for them to execute there. You're going to have to be careful because you don't want to give an early kill away to that Evelyn, because if you do, you are just accelerating the death machine that comes out.
Both teams have kudos to both teams. They both drafted lanes that will enable their jungler to gank. You have the slow from the top lane. If that is Graves top, you got Rise Rune Prison. You got Rel. You got Make It Rain in the bottom lane for Lee Sin to catch up. And on the other side, you have the Jax Counter-Strike. You have the Yone ultimate. And you have Syndra and Leona stun for your CC-less Evelyn. I mean, of course, the charm, but you don't use it for the charm, let's be honest. You do it for the I do a billion damage move. So great job for both teams to draft around their potential carry jungler. Unfortunately for Boise State, they may continue to go with this kind of controlled pacing, but Lee Sin falls off drastically harder than Evelyn. Evelyn will continue to be able to one-shot your ADC regardless of pretty much any point in the game. Once it gets past like level 16, you got to be on Galvin the whole game or he will instantly perish.
Yeah, that definitely is a good point you bring up. But I think a difference between Game 1 and Game 2 here for Boise State's draft from, just the champions that they've selected here, I think that they have strong points that they can pivot to, that they can play through to force plays out here and force responses from Team Ambition Black. I think that's something that they lacked in the last game. I mean, bot lane was a strong pivot for them, but they weren't really able to capitalize very well off of the push advantage that the Ashe and the Rel had gotten in Game 1. I think that with the Grays being about middle of the lane with Rascals, Yasuo, and then obviously Shen from Elodad was for the most part being pushed in or frozen in the middle of the lane. There wasn't a power point there that allowed the Echo to kind of get out there and force plays out or just any members kind of very easily. I think that with having 3 strong lanes, and 3 champions that you can look at taking over a game, if you give them the resources, I think that this gives them a lot more ability to kind of change the pacing a little bit themselves, take hold of the game much easier. And
also consider another X factor, Mortar's Lee Sin in general. Mortar is a fantastic Lee Sin player, and given their own resources, if they want to be a little covetous and want to take them for themselves, can completely control the pacing of the game within their own right. So it'll have to see whether or not the team of Ambition Black can take this away, can continue to hold themselves in the driver's seat, or does Boise State have a one-boot way into a tie series, into possibly a Game 3?
I think that they do. I think that this has been a strong game, but why don't you pivot to some ideas?
We don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no.
Doc Skis of the game will actually identify how to win. In League of Legends, Doc Skis of the game, our focus is strong comp. Play to that comp. Remember your win con and Dragon Control. Dragon Control, Boise State kind of suffered in last time, but that is okay. Doc's Keys of the Game are brought to us by Drop In Gaming. Drop In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash prizes and more through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop In Gaming has the best and right games and competition for you to begin your competitive gaming journey. Sign up at dropingaming.com. And again, for those just joining us, Boise State fights to stay alive in this best of 3 against Ambition Black. Ambition Black 1-0 so far on the series. Look to take this one home in this Game 2 of League of Legends. And I know y'all in there, Twitch chat, go to Drop In Gaming right now. Check them out. Get yourself signed up. Some of you guys are cracked. You are absolute monsters on certain games, just like this Boise State roster is an absolute monster of a team in this League of Legends game. Just got some things to work out.
Yeah, and I think that they have shown some, they've shown some incredible play, at times, and that's really just been the idea, is being able to kind of put it all together, because they have at points had a very dominant early game, a very dominant mid game, a very good late game. They just haven't been able to put all of the puzzle pieces together, but I think that they're definitely close with their results over the past weekend here, and we'll see if they're able to turn this around in Game 2.
What is Ambition Black's mascot? Is it a Bronco? Because the everlasting question is, what mascot's better? A Bronco is like a pretty mean horse, you know? They're wild, they're untamed, they can kick really hard. I don't know, Ambition Black, I don't know what your mascot is, but it better be better than a Bronco. It can't be better than a Bronco, that's the joke.
I think it looks like a, like an alternated A.
You think
or
their mascot's an A?
Like a graphically changed A.
Like their mascot's the acute angle.
Yeah.
It's geometry incarnate. It's just a protractor at like less than 90 degrees.
So does that mean acute angles are equal to ambition?
And is it cute to be ambitious? I think so.
Maybe.
Hey, just some words of advice. You want to be cute or acute and be ambitious. I don't know. No weird builds that I can see just yet. It is going to be the Graves top lane. Not going to be switched into the mid. We do see the kind of poke-based MF ADC with the Comet, which means that they most likely also have like Mana Flow Band, probably Transcendence, Scorch maybe. Gathering Storm's like generally pretty okay. Kind of pivot away from Scorch just because, you know, you don't really need the extra burden lane. Ooh, a late invade from Boise State. Maybe 2 members. Nice damage to get the Arcane Comet down. But here comes Mortar with the kick. He does have the Q and the smite in combo. So they're going to go for the dive down for the secure. And just as we had mentioned, Siphon, Evelyn not a great duelist. Can't do anything even with 2 members there against the Lee Sin.
Well, neither is the Syndra at level 1. I mean, she only has the Dark Sphere, and that Leona is...
Skin's so cool.
And the Leona is the only one that's left there who really has any agency here at level 1. It's phenomenal start here for Boise State and for Mortar.
People love Jax, but that kit is outdated, friends. Play like a good champion like Aatrox or something. Here comes another engage. The dive down continue to be huge. The flash and the Q will be a deterrent here for Boise State. They'll say, we got the flashes out. We'll take that. We just had to use an Ignite. I think that's a worthy trade. And now the Syndra loses all pressure, sitting at 0 CS. This whole bottom lane story is completely different from the last game.
Yeah, and no flash either. I mean, that's a very, very vulnerable Syndra. She gets engaged on now at any point, either after a reset where this lane is a little bit more favorable to Ambition Black, where they are further away from their tower. She's not going to be able to get out of it nearly as easily here. So it's a great start here for this bottom lane.
What was that double up angle? Interesting.
Yeah.
MF's an interesting champion, to say the least.
Oh!
But the TP level 2! Oh my gosh, Boise State's gone for blood! And they'll take the first one! A trade over to Leona, they'll take one piece. I don't know what's happening.
We have a human ward.
But there is a death there.
Human
Probably
wards.
gonna be able to take
Oh
up
my.
one, but the TP coming from their own top laner. No, it's the APC back. Syndra's here, back for blood. Maybe Typhoon's back up with a kill of their own.
Wait.
Flashing into tower. It's another kill going over Turk, but a 2-0 Leona. I think that's almost worth enough to get your Goblin ADC MF ahead.
Well, I want to pose a question to you.
Oh, okay.
So, with the start we just have seen now in the first 3 minutes, and with the start we saw in the last game, are we sure that Turk is not actually the carry in this lane and that the support is actually All For One?
Maybe.
Because I don't think All For One has actually gotten a kill in lane.
Yeah, I think he ended last game with 1 kill as well.
Yes, and it was a solo kill.
So far, Turk has more kills than All For One.
And it
But
was
I mean,
a
with
solo
the name
kill.
like All For One, like, you're just willing to do what you can to get
Fair.
the job, right?
I'm just posing the question.
I think you might be right. I think the roles are swapped. Besides, everyone knows Leona does the most damage in bottom
That's
lane
also
anyway.
very true. I mean, I don't see any Conqueror, though, for this Leona,
No
so
need.
could be good. I mean,
Base damage too high.
yeah, you
You
could.
guys remember when her ult gave her 3 buffed autos and she actually was the most damaging carry in the game?
I think that might be before my time.
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't know. I always like to do this thing called date myself, where I say things that make it seem like I'm really old to them. But nice engage, another invasion, and Evelyn cannot find a break just yet. Here comes the cavalry. Leona's going to be here, and Turk will continue trying to be the carry. We'll find a stun. And 4 members from the side of Ambition Black will find something. Lightpost going for the dive under tower, pulling Turk away. Means that the carry will get another kill. 3-0 Leona's terrifying. No, like that's actually really scary.
No, that's terrifying now for the prospect of if he goes on to Goblin. That's a really strong champion you're going to be facing if he chooses to go in. I mean,
Yeah,
and that
lethality item is going to do virtually nothing to
Right.
Leona because of the base armor she has because of W.
exactly, that's something else you
Shame.
got to consider. But she went for the early Moby, so the roaming capabilities looks like what he's prioritizing right now.
And that might be necessary. It doesn't look like the rest of these lanes for Ambition Black are going the way that they want to. Yes, it could be in part because Boise State hasn't forced their hand in those lanes just yet, but regardless, I think Boise State really trying to make these proactive plays. They are eking out minor losses and W's on a coin flip, so to speak. The chance of success is just right there.
Wow.
And they're losing or winning by slim margins. I think that's the right call when you're still relatively close, if not tied up. And here comes another dive. The TP now from, it looks like the Syndra yet again. They have the TP up once more. Nope, that will be the Yone. A third TP. 3 TPs on the side of Ambition Black means that they do not want Boise State to make plays across the map, but now that the dust is settled, just a minor rotation from a reset lane on Light Pulse's side affords a free TP. Nice call.
Yeah, and they're about to have that Jax TP back up as well, so that ability to either deny another play by having the Jax TP or potentially just keeping the Jax in his lane where he is, continue to build his strength. That possibility is on the table for them as well. Very good roam though from the Rel, at least getting that TP out.
Yeah, just for being there, I think that's remarkable.
It's a great, good idea to just even consider that idea, because that's a very far away from bot lane. Most supports don't consider that idea.
Looking to sprint right at Goblin. Does not find the angle, gets knocked down. Still has the Mobies activated until right about now. Does not matter. Syndra continuing to be now pushed back. Has the 1 assist, but still behind in gold compared to Goblin's kill and 3 CS lead. Evelyn is finally finding some gold, and despite the best efforts from Boise State to counteract the pockets and exchange of money towards Evelyn, ahead with a camp lead and an assist lead as well.
Yeah, and that, the Evelyn, we talked about how important
level
it
6
is.
too.
And the level 6 has been acquired, and she's in bot lane. I don't think she showed yet.
Hasn't been seen, can't be just yet.
Or maybe the site gave it away. I'm not, oh no.
Comes an engage, and it's a dangerous one, but the charm's here, so they know. And a sidestep from Goblin will call him out, read him as a book. The damage on the other side is too much. The stop barely missed as Rascal does not secure the CC. A flash forward, and Ascent misses the Q. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Here comes the bullet time and the Make It Rain combo, and Boise State will clean it up. But boy, was that messy beforehand. That was on both sides.
That was a fight of margins, as nearly able to get the stop there was Rascal. Oh my.
Nice quick draw. It's the same story as the Yasuo matchup.
Each time it gets later and later before the
It's for suspense. It's for the content. Here comes the
you're
dive
right.
down and the Rel stun. It's all about the bait. Show a little leg, they say. Jackson's starting to pick up pace though. Got the plate steel caps. Might end up turning us into a Blessed of the Rune, or Blade of the Rune King could be huge in this matchup.
Oh, wow.
And here comes a dive. The Rel stayed. We never expected it, but they have their own reinforcements as well. The Solar Flare will come down. Rel's the slowest champion in this form, so barely able to Penguin walk away. Gets stunned mid-mount up, throws him into the tower, but it's the wrong one. And Boise State will be punished 2-0 in the top lane.
And that dive will go awry there from Boise State as they tried to surprise AXM on the top side, try to get that Jax behind. Instead, it turns around on him as that Leona makes an appearance. The carry from the bot lane makes an appearance.
Yeah, sorry. 100% KP, by the way, Leona. Leona's insane. This is literally my solo queue nightmare. I'm literally Goblin in this situation. I'm sitting 2-0-2. My farm's better than my lane opponent, but the opposing ADC, I pinged ping missing 17 times, but no one gets it that Leona's powerful right now. It's not my fault. Boise State still has an in though, right? Because yes, Leona has the mobility boots. Not actually the tankiest boots available in League of Legends. I don't know if you knew that. And
oh, wow.
That means that without that extra mobility, might not have the in they need to get to this backline hyper carry damage. Here comes Evelyn trying to make things happen. Another dodge. Doesn't matter who it is, but Boise State's roster will find another 3v1. Elodad cannot catch the break. He'll flash over, but here comes Mortar. Doesn't find the second Q. Here comes another failed Yone ult. He cannot get things locked down, but it does not matter as the full 4-man from Ambition Black is top lane.
Ambition Black again, they're first on the rotation. And, that was very aggressive to try to cover that warp when he had no vision there from Elodad. Elodad had no vision of where anybody was on the map as we have another dive bottom.
You are not CC immune while doing dive down, ladies and gentlemen. This goes exactly why. A nice bait into the Make It Rain bullet time combo, but it's not quite enough. It's enough to thwart him out for a couple seconds. Half HP, they'll get themselves a dodge, but here comes Yone. He doesn't have the ultimate to follow. Leona going for the Hex Flash, does not have Solar Flare, but it is dangerously close, and there comes the cooldown, there comes the lockdown, but Light Pulse calls it perfectly and dives right under tower to safety.
And Boise State's battling gonna get out there, as again, the rotations from Ambition Black.
Yone and Leona just top? I don't remember.
Yes, they were, they just ran bottom. I mean, really, they've just got the speed there, and Ambition Black, I mean, they've done a good job recognizing and predicting where they need to be, where they're going to find openings here. And Boise State has been caught flat-footed a couple of times in that engagement in the top side where they did lose Elodad and Mortar. They had Rise from the Ascent. He was in base at the time, still buying, and so they didn't have their mid laner to back them up, so they were already at a numbers disadvantage.
Despite this Leona's near perfect KP.
Oh my.
Oh, hold on, maybe tack on another one here. Catch a curse. The stun, the double stun, the cleanse. Removes some CC. Cannot find the damage. Cinder gonna be turned away. Will Leona pick up a 4th kill? Oh my goodness, you're kidding me.
Where's the Infinity Edge? Where's the death cap?
Just get like a stair
here's
stage,
the
right?
shutdown.
Here comes the shutdown, maybe. Does not have a slow beyond just that of the, oh gosh. Trying to kill Leona is just such a sad thing. Does have the stopwatch as well, but now the collapse is going to be here. Leona goes for the bait underneath the towers. The Zenith Blade. Here comes the full Monty combo, the stun, the charm, and the damage. Castle will pick up one. And then engage in the top lane. It's going to be 1 versus 1. Jack's going to be able to dangerously get himself into a possible kick under tower position. Boise State looking to pull a risky trigger here.
They're only 2K down.
They see the Syndra. The carry's gone. This is it. The Realmore pushing in. Can they find an angle? No, they just walk away. Sad for Boise State trying to find something. He doesn't find anything. Leeson's still being rescinded the top lane because Elodad is somewhere else right now.
I believe he just came back from death.
He was. He was in a very dark, gray place.
But he's back in the world of color again, back to the green.
As I was saying, despite this near-perfect KP from Leona, I think until that point, they were ahead. Boise State had the ahead gold advantage in this bottom lane. Not for long, Ambition Black has called and stripped out that chunk of change, and they want to catch in. Solar Flare will crash on top of the spray of bullets, and this time a Samurai's behind it, slicing up the guns from Boise State. And now it's just going to be another 1 versus 4. Boise State again tries to control the pace, tries to be the aggressor, but Ambition Black says, this is from our playbook. Let us show you how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, again, they are continuing to try to look for these plays, and Ambition Black is calling their bluff. The triple TP has wreaked havoc with Boise State's plans this game, and now, despite all this, though, while they're down 9 kills, they're only down about 3,000 gold right now.
Yeah, it's a very more surmountable disadvantage that they had compared to last game. Gets himself barely the safety. Graves going for the shield bow means that he can go toe-to-toe for quick bursty trades maybe with AXM, but not these long drawn-out ones. Now the shield bow's popped though, the whole script's changed, and now Elodad's got to be danger close to death.
And you got to flip the page on that script now. The shield bow's gone.
Shield bow gone, it been popped. It go bye-bye.
It does go bye-bye for just a little bit there.
Oh my goodness, and that's a trade. That's just a Sheen proc in and of itself, but the bait's there. Collateral damage looking to secure this. The stun will not be thrown out, but the flash!
Wow!
Oh my goodness, AXM! Oh. The call out, the sheer gall, and Elodad's going back to farming.
Well, he sees everybody else on the map there.
Yeah,
but you know what? AXM flashed and he caught the back of the knock-up from Light Pulse.
Light Pulse called it.
Yeah, Light Pulse put the knock-up down, but it caught the very back of the animation there when AXM flashed forward to try to get the auto down, so his auto didn't go through, and that is what led to his death, or at least not getting the trade down onto Elodad. So that's going to be a little bit unfortunate there for Ambition Black, but Boise State will take it. They're getting a nice shutdown onto that Jax.
Yeah, Jax being taken down. Does not leave an opportunity for any towers to follow suit, but that is okay. Big things I want to note, though, is these mythic items are coming online. 5 in tow for this side of Ambition Black. Of course, 4 in tow for Boise State. But the manner in which what is purchased, Jack's getting those, I think, like a coin flip trades there in the top lane with just Machine. He's got the Divine Thunder, and you can see just right then and there why it's so powerful. And Evelyn with the Night Harvester optimization, meaning that they want to go for complete and utter obliteration of Boise State's lineup.
Yeah, I would agree with those. Oh, man.
A lot of damage. Evelyn in the top lane. Not a lot that the Graves can do. Get himself away. Only a couple more moments. One more shot will do it, but unfortunately, the counter-strike will soon be up, and it doesn't matter as Castle's there. A 2v1 Elodad. Not able to 1v1 anymore. There's just so many people in the top lane, which is completely different than normal solo queue, I guess. But, you know, when you have a win con, you have a Jax, you want to put some eggs in that basket because he will eventually become a split-pushing nightmare.
Yeah, and I think that is something from, you know, Doc's keys to the game, and I'll come back to that in just one moment.
The realm war behind, they went to where the origin was, and they found the Yone, but can they kill him through the shield? But they can. Just as we mentioned, here's Jax, but where's the combo to fall suit? The make it rain and the bullet time combo will take him apart. Boise State calls the bluff now of Ambition Black, and they'll get a tower and some kills to boot.
Very impressive there from Goblin. He's able to get the tower there. He's able to pick up those kills as well. And Boise State gets a positive trade there on the map.
Oh no! He might get another one! No, it's not safe. They don't know. The members from mid lane just went black. They do not know, and Goblin has the game awareness to say, I'm in danger, something's going to happen to me. Oh no, Castle's going to keep him in tandem.
Wait, he can wait, there's no tower. Wait, there's no tower. Oh my goodness. Wait,
they don't know where he is because they don't know where Goblin went either.
Wait, he's about to run into
Mission Impossible. Here comes the exclamation point ping. Oh, Yone the guard has found an intruder.
Wait, they're shoving mid.
Snake.
He can get out.
Snake! Is he gonna get out? Oh my goodness!
Wait,
wait, go your team! I didn't know Tom Cruise played League of Legends. My apologies. Here comes the solar flare. And despite the best efforts, Goblin will find Jax. He's still alive! You cannot find this man! Oh my goodness, they do find the mark, but the charm was only there for a second for pinging. Yes, they lose one. Goblin's still finding perfect positioning. Getting himself barely to safety! Yone's looking for blood! The flash! The scumbag flash, really? Rascal, come on. Boise State still running away. It's 5 members. They tried what they could to protect their ADC, but it is all for naught as 3 go down for the effort. That was impressive regardless, I think.
That was very impressive. And if Ambition Black had just given it up, what's more hilarious is that whole thing started from a missed Evelyn Q, and Goblin thought he got hit, so he decided to turn and fight.
And then they lost Goblin somehow.
Because there was no tower.
There was no tower. There was no wards in the bushes.
I don't know how Yone didn't see him, though. I mean, he stepped, because he didn't go in at the bush.
He was shopping, I think.
Yeah, because he didn't go in through the tri-bush. He went in front of that tower as Yone, the tier 2 on bottom lane, as Yone was walking up.
Shop open or something.
Yeah, must have. But he didn't see him there, I don't think. And by the time they located him again, they needed to turn and pick a fight here. But back to Doc's keys to the game, because I wanted to point something out, because you had mentioned it earlier. Playing to your win con, I feel like Boise State is having a tough time figuring out the best way for them to go out and win this game. And that's why I feel like they've been into so many places, so many lanes, because there's not really been a commitment to how to gain a lead and how to win the game from there. And I think that they need to decide that, and decide that soon, who they're going to play through, how they're going to get the game down. Because as you can see right now, Ambition Black is doing a good job of just waiting for what Boise State's going to do.
The ultimate there from Yone. He misses. He actually lands a Q mid-dash, but the damage and the crowd control from Ambition Black is too much. Unfortunately, they are just dominant, and they are rotating. This Leona, again, is a complete monster. Doesn't have perfect KP, but they are truly the carry in this bottom lane. What's interesting is I think Boise State has a great 5v5, but not in the traditional sense. I think that their comp... on. Let's see whether or not action prevails. Here comes the dive down and the make it rain bullet time combo. The shred is there, but the flash away. The auto,
the Q.
Leona. The bounce back, Yone. You killed your teammates, and you're gonna die for it as well. Boise State getting shutdown gold, and precious lot of it onto this Goblin carry. That's how you win. You put Goblin in a position where he can get an ultimate, and the way that they play the team fight, oh my goodness, the damage from just this Evelyn is so insurmountable. The damage from Ascent is greater, and Boise State will strike back with a fiery passion as they will take kills across the board. Hey,
they might go for Baron.
Worlds rise, am I right?
Yeah, really. That is phenomenal stuff there from all 5 members of Boise State, as they are able to out-team fight Ambition Black there. And now they're going to try to pick up this Baron.
Drell not the tankiest member, but they will turn on Jackson 1 versus 4. Has counter-strike, gets himself to safety, but for a few more moments. Did stall out the Baron, but it did not fully reset. Boise State reassesses and says, this is too dangerous for us. Yes, we have the Realm War. We could reposition this at any moment. And as I was trying to say before the next action happens, Boise State's team comp isn't a traditional 5v5. Instead, they have to protect Goblin right now and continue to allow Ascent to pump out rotation after rotation. And the way they do so is with the smoke screen from Graves. It's a mid-control powerhouse in tandem with the Magnet Storm. It's not a dive backline comp, it's a separate the dive from Ambition Black from going further and eliminate whoever gets to the backside of our frontline comp.
And I really like that idea because you're very spot on with that. You know, Ascent and Goblin are these two primary carries that they have to protect, and I think the Graves is going to have to be the one tasked with that because he's able to kind of neutralize the threat of that Evelyn, of that Jax, of that Yone because of the smokescreen. All three of those champions are melee range champions. They are not going to be able to see, you know, or just avoid.
Bye. No charge for you.
That was no eye damage either. I mean, that was the full health bar. The slow.
Oh, they might find it.
Oh, wait.
Going for just Elo Dad. That's not the right call. He's got a shield. Solar Flare will be used as well. And
TP.
Ambition Black throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Boise State. And they're walking away cleanly. Here comes the engage on Leona. The true carry has fallen, and Boise State has hope.
And Boise State, they're down 1K
They're
right
going
now.
to continue going. The Realm Warp's here to find Yone. He doesn't have the ultimate to kick away with the rest of the damage. Oh my, great googly
Oh
moogly.
my God.
He has so much healing, and he hasn't even rewound yet. Evelyn in tow. And the dubstep smite and the E to teleport to. This time doesn't find it. Goes for the stun, does not get it. The stun will be removed from Cleanse. And it's a 1v1 in the top lane. In the bottom lane, the top laners are fighting. Who knew that was going to happen? And now they're just proxying each other. Boise State continue to stay alive, but tier 2 top tower is not long for this world. Jax will flip over the wall. Boise State finding competitive edges, finding some ekes out and wins, but continues to push the envelope before what they can catch a check-in. A little bit more reservation towards maybe, hey, we just got one, we just got two. At this point, let's not go super aggressive. Let's go to Baron. Let's force them to make the mistake by coming into us as we continue to demonstrate that we know our win condition for the comp. It's to protect MF. It's to let Ascent get as many rotations out as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Boise State's finally, you know, they're understanding what they need to do, how they need to win these games. They're doing a good job of protecting the carries on the initial engagement, and then their re-engages have been phenomenal to this point over the last few minutes. That's allowed them to kind of claw back some momentum in this game. And there's still a lot of standing gold for them that they could easily collect. I mean, that tier 1 is still standing in the mid lane.
Right.
All 3 tier 2s are still standing in all 3 lanes. So that's already easily about 1,000 to 2,000 gold that is just standing there for them to try to look to collect, and that could pretty much narrow this gap considerably.
Cage maybe on the Jax. They find out the ward. Here comes this Q as well. Counter Strike is there, but the Evelyn's here as well. They're looking for an opportunity, but the only Ghost Blade will be popped in. A huge thing to highlight is Goblin's kind of shied away from the I'm supporting you kind of build and saying, hey, I'm the carry, y'all need to protect me, and it's proving dividends for Boise State. Mr. Reldy's Grudge, he's got Clips, he's got Yumi's Ghost Blade. Yes, the Merc Treads are there for the crowd control, and Ambition Black has a lot of it. But I think it's a great build, and it is doing fantastic damage. Boise State just needs to realize that. He's not the one enabling you. You need to enable him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They need to just enable Goblin here because he is going to be this primary carry that is going to allow them to remain in these games. That bullet time.
For it. They see 2 members. They see 1 member bottom from Ambition Black. Do they just pull the trigger on Baron?
They see 3, but look at AXM right now. He's fine. He's around behind them.
Here comes the engage. Realm Warp somewhere. It's the back. But they let Goblin alone. He's the true carry. You cannot allow this to happen. You're going to get some damage here on Leona. Let Ascent be the next one in line. Keep him protected. That's not how you do it. The fantastic flank from Leone will take out Ascent. And Boise State's damage is now in the ground for 30-plus seconds. Boise State finds an opportunity, tries to challenge this mid-pressure towards the Baron area, gets engaged on, and now Ambition Black has fast-tracked the Baron.
Yeah, and that could definitely mean a stranglehold on this game is about to be secured here for Ambition Black, as they're going to be able to get this potentially. But I'll be curious to see what Boise State's response will be here, because they still have top and jungle up. They could, yeah, they could conceivably go for this. They could easily get that tower.
We've seen this before. Mortar has taken bigger chances in the past. He will be found out, does not get the opportunity, even collateral damage, doesn't get access to the pit. And now Mortar giving his life for the 50-50 chance. Can't get himself near the Baron.
And Ambition Black, well done. I mean, they rush the Baron down, they get the jungler down as well, so it's again a 4v5. This buys them the time to reset, look to get their waves pushed out on the map, and then look to potentially take control of that Dragon Pit, collect that Cloud Soul, and from there, you know, look, from there they can just control the game and slowly move these waves in ever so closer to taking those inhibitors.
Talk about wanting to keep one target isolated and down in the dirt, and Anthem-Up's chains being picked up by Turk on Leona means that I think it's got to go towards Goblin, and he ain't moving too much after that gets locked down.
Yeah.
But that does offer the question. If Boise State can stall out and this lethality builds the focus for Goblin, that means the Edge Knight's an opportunity. Oh, not an opportunity, unfortunately, for Life Pulse as he gets found out, dived over to the wall, and into two welcoming arms of Ambition Black. Stalling will be a lot harder without that rel carry, but they can still do it. Boise State needs to keep themselves at coast and afloat in order to stay alive in this game, of course, and forgoing the 2-0. They do have wave clear. Rise is fantastic at it. They also have the damage from Graves. They don't have to commit too much. Don't even, oh my God. That had to be just, what, I don't even know what that was.
I think that was two spell fluxes.
Exploded.
That was two
the
spell.
Kick under tower. Mortar's going to follow suit. The W here from Elo Dad, but the true carries are not in the wings. Again, no, this could be just them bluffing, saying we want to go for the fight, forcing Ambition to play on the back foot, the reactionary call, in order for them to buy some time. It doesn't look like that as Life Pulse looks for an engage. I don't know about this one. He dives over the wall and he's to safety. All for One gets all the power out, but has Scout of the Week available. Here comes the bullet time. Doesn't find the access, and one punch gotta will be one shot, a double kill over Devlin, and the no trade kills for Boise State.
AXN's on his way.
Somewhat question mark engage goes even worse for Boise as they cannot get a target locked down. They still can thwart this advance. They can maybe turn away the siege, but not without the help of their carries. As now Light Pulse will also fall in a huge tall order for Elo Dad and Mortar to hold this off. It is a candy minion. They are Baron empowered. And Ambition Black is marching into the base of Boise State. They're not looking away. They're not looking to go. They're looking to end this right here. There goes the flat kick. A takedown as well. He gets the second Q. The game's still alive. One tower remaining. Chasing the Evelyn. That might be the right call, but MF's alive. Going forward for some damage. Doesn't have the bullet time just yet. Nice flash forward with the Q to combo, but he will get instantly punished. Yone's got another ultimate pushing out forward. Gets the resurrection. He is alive. Leona pushing forward to try and be the real carry. And the healing from Yone is just too much. The Boise State continues to try and find angle after angle. And Ascent is the sole carry. He's able to find something here. He gets the flash to Zonius. The game is yet still alive, and Boise State clings on with mere inches of life.
Did he flash in place and then Zonius?
I don't know, but he lived, and that's what matters.
That is true. That is exactly.
I squeaked a little bit there.
That, you know what?
They got me to squeak because I did not anticipate that going that way.
Well, it was definitely very interesting how that ended up playing out there as Ambition Black tried to do two different things there. They went for the kills at one end and went for the nexus with others, and it separated them just enough to allow Goblin to pick off a couple before going down. It allowed Mortar to pick off a couple before going down, and then it allowed Ascent to be able to clean up from there. And I think that that's something that was really big for keeping Boise State afloat and in this game, but they are still significantly down. Cloud Soul's about to go over to Ambition as well, so they're going to have to do it at least a couple more times.
Yeah, with at least one lane of super minions pouring in, that does give an opportunity for some extra gold to be accessed, but unfortunately with that amount of pressure, that also means that the rest of these lanes are vulnerable to pretty much anything. And Boise State waits in the wings for possibly AXM. Pushing forward, Counter-Strike down. He has Steric's gauge. When do they pull the trigger? The time is
Not now.
Oh.
Wow. I think they're afraid of that triple TP. But I guess Alpha 1 doesn't have TP right now.
We'll also be only a double. I'm not going to TP in place.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, if that was Syndrome, then
It's a question mark, though, because Boise State in this game, too, have tried to pull the trigger on Jax to have Leona and Yone come in for rotation. So with that question mark on that, I feel like maybe that was the call, but I don't know. Committing 3 members for a possible play and then not committing to it.
But do you win that fight, though? That Jax is almost full build. He's almost full build, though. I mean, he's got the Warhammer, so once he finishes that, he's 1 item away.
Collapsing all lanes, mid already gone, top and bottom will be soon to follow suit. Unless Boise State tries to do something crazy. It's turned away. Crash down will be turned, 50% of rel health gone. Evelyn doing what they need to, not revealing yourself puts a question mark on the entire map. Boise State will be engaged on, misses out on the ultimate from Evelyn. But now the Nexus will turn the tide. It is now the focal point for Ambition Black. They have no more inhibitors, no more structures to go. Only go collect $200 and maybe a Nexus to boot. Boise State has one final fight here, but the fight in the back line, and Ambition Black finds the angle. Boise State trying to stay alive to get maybe one here. The damage is just so much. The shield instantly being taken out, and the scatter to weak. The charm to follow suit. Boise State, despite their best efforts, will lose as Ambition Black will win the game 2-0. Oh, but they're gonna dive the tower. They're not done yet. And there they are.
And Ambition Black are gonna take a comfortable 2-0 here against Boise State after very chaotic games.
Yeah. Game 2, I think, more explosive than Game 1. Boise State able to punch back more often than they were in Game 1, which means that between the 2 maps, a lot of adjustments being made, a lot of different adaptations, maybe the conversation saying, hey, we need to put more eggs in this basket, maybe we need to do these plays a little bit different. But that's okay. Ambition Black gets to celebrate a W, but we get to celebrate Halloween here on October 30th, which is a Saturday. Do you have plans? Now you don't, right? You've canceled your plans as I told you about the party.
You know what? That's a good point. I did cancel my plans.
Guys.
Because I'm coming here to this Halloween party.
You're coming to the Halloween party, dude? What are you dressing up as?
That's a surprise.
Oh, fair enough. Well, you don't want to miss it. Here at the Boise State Esports Arena, we'll have a Halloween party, and it's going to be presented by the Idaho Army National Guard. Fighting games, racing games, some cosplay, some food. I'm going to be there for that. Tons of prizes and more. You'll want to RSVP to hold your spot at boisestate.edu/esports. And I got a tip on some of the prizes. You're going to want to be here, actually. So do it. RSVP. I'm going to be here.
Right now.
Yeah, do it right now. I'll wait. I'm just kidding. That game was pretty explosive. Boise State really trying to stick it to Ambition Black. But again, it's very rare to see a team be more aggressive than the Broncos. But it ended up being the case tonight, and Ambition Black does deservedly win the 2-0. Boise State able to take a lot of notes, though, because when you face a more aggressive team, you can then say, okay, this is where we lacked in pace control. This is where they accelerated pace control. How do we replicate that? How do we do something similar to that so then we can reap the benefits that they did this game?
Yeah, and I think when you make a great point there. I mean, their styles, I mean, they're both very aggressive teams, but I think that they accomplished that in different ways.
Right.
I think they were more willing to go for those 4v4s, 4v5s, the TPs in bot lane at level 5 or in level 3, you know, bring everybody down to bot lane. I think that their rotations were always, you know, they were willing to make the first rotation, and I think that was something that at times Boise State was able to follow, able to kind of make that play there, but at other times they were not, and they were caught at a numbers disadvantage. And I think that that is something that if they were to take away from, I would say they need to work on their rotations. If they're going to go for those cross map plays, they need to do it with a major numbers advantage or do it at multiple points at the same time in order to prevent those cross TPs from being able to be effective.
I think that the pros column and the cons column for Boise State tonight are the same, and it's pushing the envelope, pulling the trigger, being proactive, being aggressive, because when it worked out for them, they got tremendous leads. They were able to really put themselves in a position of dominance, put themselves ahead, or catch themselves back up. But in the con section, when they overforce, when they don't have the availability to cash in that check, it kind of bites them in the butt. But again, you know, that's kind of when it comes to being aggressive, the risk you take. It's just a matter of informed risk. Least chance of success, most chance of success, risk versus reward, a bunch of those other things, a bunch of buzzwords really. But Boise State will take this one and review it. I think this is a great learning experience, again, to mention aggression versus aggression. There's so many things to learn. If you were to highlight a player from Boise State, which one would you highlight?
If I was to highlight a
You
player,
can hire him if you want.
I mean, I could. You're right.
You make the big bucks now that you're a caster. You know?
That's a good point. But I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with either Ascent or Goblin.
Yeah, Goblin really did put themselves in a position to say, "Hey, I'm gonna be the carry tonight. You guys just need to give me a little bit of give me a little bit of breathing room." And despite his best efforts, he had great positioning. It's just that the members for Ambition Black were able to find him. I would have to agree, but we'll have to see what it really ends up being here in the next few seconds as we hopefully get a player of the game, and it's gonna be wait for it. It is Ascent. Nice. Yeah, fantastic plays as well. These Realm Warts, the map rotation, and the constant pressure that he was able to offer. Also, mitigating Yasuo, not an easy thing to do by any means. So
Yeah.
Goblin will be put down second place, in my opinion, as Ascent will take Idaho's player of the game. The Idaho Central Credit Player of the Game is brought to you, of course, by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes that a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Ascent is tonight's Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game. To continue, I mean, he was the last one standing. We'll have to see if he does do that flash in place, though, here. No.
Oh, he flashed though. I think he did.
I think Rascal flashed there. I don't think he flashed.
He
Maybe
did.
He did.
Yeah,
I
his
don't know.
flash timer was just new. But anyway,
It doesn't even matter.
it's over now.
Yeah, it is. It's all good. It is what it is. And I don't know about you, but I gotta go get some honey tea in my throat, because that was a heart palpitating, heart racing, sweat inducing, high octane game. But that's not all. We're going to close this out tonight with the top 5 plays of the game, the highlights of what had happened, what went well for both teams, and we'll leave you with those top 5 plays. Top 5 plays are brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With over 10 jobs, with a $20,000 sign-on bonus, and a degree of yours paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard truly is the best team out there. From us here at production, at the desk, good night. Is it Tuesday yet?
Yes.
But it's only a consolation prize. Here comes the collapse. Ambition Black is here, and there goes Goblin. Here comes another one on the backside. The power overwhelming is enough to chip away Echo, but the Mortar's still alive. Here comes the Stand United. Boise State calls the bluff, takes out 2, and walks away with 1 going down. Goblin will call him out, read him as a book. The damage on the other side is too much. The stop barely missed as Rascal does not secure the CC. A flash forward, and Ascent misses the Q. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Here comes the bullet time and the make it rain combo of Boise State. Will clear. That's how you win. You put Goblin in a position where he can get an ultimate. And the way that they play the team fight, oh my goodness, the damage from just this Evelyn is so insurmountable. But the damage from Ascent is greater. And Boise State will strike back with a fiery passion as they will take kills.
We got the page on that script now. The shield bow's gone.
Shield bow gone. It didn't help. It will bye-bye.
It does go bye-bye for just a little bit there.
Oh my goodness, and that's a trade. That's just a sheen
Oh,
proc in and of
boy.
itself. But the bait's there. Collateral damage looking to secure this. The stun will not be thrown out with the flash.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, AXM. And the healing from Yone is just too much. The Boise State continues to try and find angle after angle. And Ascent is the sole carry. He's able to find something here. He gets the flash to zone it. The game is yet still alive, and Boise State clinging on with mere inches alive.
Did he?